if I didn't care. Welcome. This is the Sunday morning edition of Chocolate Magic that you can get by buckling up and sitting back and joining the Chocolate Mama Show. I am your very humble, solid, cool host, Eight Wind, with Timeless. It all does start with a gentle sadness. I've been selected by the Hero Twins to be the holder of the continuous ball fields and ball games that they create. I am your galactic daddy-o, sitting on my galactic patio that goes from Minnesota out to the universe. And tonight, Clusters on Docks, Double Bach, Dunkel. Can't go better with Dunkel, baby. So pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them. Bottoms up. I used to do the Coke commercials and shit. Nobody. I don't want to share my beer with you. Now, I want to start tonight with this. Now, last night, I sent a message out, and anybody catching up or they did see this last night, I sent a message out, and the message was very through this. If anyone was able to connect with this, and the message I sent out was the power of love. Anything is possible. So if you got any of that, then let me know. But I'm going to send another one out. This is going to be something that I definitely want to try to connect with people to understand that it can be this simple. It can really be this simple. So, strong discernment. Thank you for joining me. Derek. Yes, the Hero Twins. Salute to you, Marcus the Great. Oh, there he is. PNF Information Channel. Now, that's another brother you gotta get with his information. As he recently, and I don't mean to pause, but he recently stated some things that I've stated before, that we've been lied to about what the South really was. I mean, the key thing of this information is what you have to know, and what they cannot deny is 90% of skilled labor in the South was by brothers. Or melanated, however you want to say it. 90%. And I've said before, why do you think they brought in unions during Reconstruction? Because it took, and that's what you have to understand, is who took over the South during Reconstruction. Some of these people were slaves themselves, and that's who Lincoln freed. He freed some Europeans. They don't want to tell you that. See, that's why they want to call them indentured servants. See the word servant and slave, the difference in the play on words? Because they knew they couldn't lie too much. It's like, well, we got to put something in there. But when they got done with their bid, they were able to just be free as anybody else. When we know what they did to them, look at what they did to the Irish. Poisoned their food source, then forced them over here. Starved them, and then would call them lazy. After you done took all their food and you're starving them. I mean, that's what we need to talk about, the genocide that went on in Ireland. Making them work until they basically die on the road to nowhere. I mean, this is how we're going to break free of their lies, is exposing them. Because they don't want, how many of y'all saw that Southern troops, brothers was fighting from the very beginning? There's one famous picture, I put it as a thumbnail months ago, and they caught this dude. And there's like, how can you fight for them? And this dude was an officer. And he looked at them and said, because you guys are here. Again, they fooled people in Wisconsin. They fooled people in Michigan. They wasted their young man on that 10-mile agenda. 10 mile by 10 mile agenda. Sorry, I'm going off. Barbara, thank you for joining me. Hey, Crazy Sarge. Jesse Lynn, Starface. Well, this to you too. Tiger Strong. I'm drinking on Milwaukee's Best tonight. How you guys doing? Well, Al Jannard, cheers to Milwaukee's Best. You gonna call me tomorrow? Bet. Tiger Strong, let me say this about Kwame. Kwame's a plant. He ain't talking about nothing. He doing the same thing he accused them of, just talking about him. Some point that talking about him got to end. And like he didn't say this shit. He said Charlemagne's name by accident tonight. He didn't say his name on purpose because, again, they told him he got it off last night, but he didn't say shit about Charlemagne tonight. He misspoke, mixing up Smith with him, but he didn't really say shit about his charges tonight. But some kind of way you got to move on. Now, he had about 17,000, 18,000, and before when he was talking, but what is he saying new now? He's just repeating the same old things, attacking these brothers. Now, I understand what he said about these parts of towns that need to be built up. Talk more about that. We tired of hearing about a brother talk about a brother. Yes, he's amusing. His Southern charm is reminiscent. And he does claim Geechee, which, right on. Right on. But somewhere you got to move ahead. We don't need any more gyms. We need vocations. Who was that said vocations last night? We need vocation centers. We need to learn these basics. We need to teach children these basic skills that will help a community. and not just help the overall European system. So they keep calling Stephen A. Smith out his name, rightly so. I mean, Corey Holcomb, look at what Corey Holcomb did. And again, Smith, and I'm going to say this, he was wrong about that Smith got Big House fired. Let's be who Big House Gaines was. Big House Gaines won the national title with Earl Monroe when he tore up Division II. Granted, in the 66, 67, somewhere in there. Stephen A. Smith had Big House. When I was going to A&T, Big House was still coaching. So Stephen A. Smith, 4 or 5 years younger than me. So he played under Big House. So saying that Smith did papers and got Big House fired, I don't know where that shit came from. When I played, Big House had to be in his 70s. He had to be in his 70s. Do you understand? This man probably was like John Wooden, coach from his 30s at Winston-Salem State until his 80s. Big House wasn't a young man when I went there 50 years ago. He had to be. When I played the A&T, this dude had to be in his 70s. He coached Earl Monroe, 67, 77. So we're talking about 14, 15 years after he coached Earl Monroe in the 60s. So that story was wrong. But Corey Holcomb was the one doing the same thing, selling all that talk, and then ran into Smith. And I understand you run into a motherfucker in the restaurant. You ain't really gonna snap on him. I understand that. That's common sense. But I mean, he's right about those points. But somewhere you got to move on. You can't just be telling these stories over and over again. I can't believe people keep falling for it. And like he getting mad at Roy Hibbert from shit he said years ago. Again, this is a young dude getting egged on by these people. That's all. But I'll say this: he had a good point on them stifling young athletes, not going around saying Kwame was such a buzz that you don't want to be like that. And the rules they put in, Prop 48, Iverson fell under. Glenn Robertson, he fell under. Big Dog, he fell under that. A lot of brothers that they penalized for Prop 48, very racist rule that the NCAA put up. Even the one now, forcing the one and done. It's the only sport. Football, you're not physically big enough at 18. I only know of one dude that went from high school to pro, and he played in what was called the World Football League. And this cat was from Detroit. I'm going to try to look him up. But this cat is from Detroit, and he went into the World Football League that only in the early 70s, they only played about 10 games. But he was a guy from Detroit that was playing with, and he wasn't playing with the Detroit team. I think it was called the Detroit Wheels. Maybe he was. I don't remember. But this cat was a big old dude. But basically, you're just not physically fit enough. Hockey, I think, would fall into that. But look at these tennis players. Can be rich at 15, 16. And their idea was China and the G League. Now the G League is paying more, so Kwame's a little wrong about that. I mean, you can pretty much go in there now if you're a top player in further development, you can make about 400 racks a year. And that's a pretty decent deal. You still get to live in America, and you're still playing ball. That's what you have to understand is you're getting paid to play ball, and if they paying you decent money, you step it in at 4, and then you can still get the two-way contracts. Not a bad plan. It's really not. And you still get to develop. Like you see Jeremy Lamb, Jeremy Lamb, excuse me, you know why they brought him over. He was the same thing as Yao Ming, that connection between Chinese basketball and American basketball. So his stuff was scripted, again, just like they scripted bringing the Europeans over, getting that connection with China. And before all the stuff started and the penalties, it was a lot of money flowing. It was billions of dollars spent on Jordan and Nike and the NBA. So those things, Hey, so, right, it's a distraction. Probably part of some bigger agenda, to be honest. I don't. Yeah, 4 years old. Hey, James, thank you for joining me. my daughter truth, but she says truth in school, and I'm sure they report it. It's so hard. I don't want to lie to my child. I don't blame you there, and I find the same thing. Um, my child's godparents really before they wasn't feeling me and understanding how solid of a man. You know, a lot of these stories they was like saying crystals aren't anything, and they have no power, no abilities. They're just rocks, and the chemtrails aren't anything. I'm going to say I'm thankful for the chemtrails where they get rid of these goddamn mosquitoes because they up here they can be a problem. So right on chemtrails. But yeah, I fall into that same thing. And she's like, well, that's not. But then her godparents, something they became a little more spiritual and aware. So now my daughter listens a little more. But I fall in that same thing. I mean, we lied to them about Santa Claus. Well, that's one of the biggest lies. Whoever came up with that, they right. We lied to them about Santa Claus. I mean, Dick Gregory said it best. His mother bust ass all year working buku hours, and then she got to give credit to somebody else. So I don't say a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff I'm understanding, but it is a distraction. It is, but he ain't. He's not saying nothing new no more. Hey Valerie, thank you for joining me. He's been close to saying games is rigged. I ain't hear that at all. So I didn't hear that at all. Now, I don't think so. I don't think he gonna say anything. What did I say before? He probably getting 300 least pension from the NBA. Who did I hear? Man, they were saying Tim Tebow. They were saying he was vested for pension from the NFL. So NFL must only be 3-4 years. They said that Tim Tebow, some people was like, well, Tebow, he get this year and he get another vested year of pension, which is interesting. But he ain't gonna say nothing because again, that's part of your pension is not exposing the corruption in the league. And I bet anything he will never say anything about that. Again, his master plan is build more rec centers. No, vocational centers. Teach real skills. Not this lie of college that put you in debt. Debt. Just as he was able to go to pro and start being a man working. That's what most men should graduate from high school, being able to have some skill. And that used to be given, and that's been taken away. Where we give these people real skills where they can step in and apprentice. I would say women had the advantage because I don't know if people really know this, but temporary jobs or temporary businesses came from the secretary pool. That was a thing that women did. You'd have secretary pools if somebody ain't, you got somebody can type, take stenography and all that. This is where those type of companies come from. And I've told before how in Battle Creek we got a copy of the overall plan to keep people going in circles. Yes, hire a few, but most of the people you're going to bounce them from factory to factory. That was their business plan for getting this industrial park. This was in the business plan. You will have so many people that, yes, you have to hire, but the majority of the people, we're going to keep them bouncing from place to place through the temporary shops. And this is only a town of barely 50,000 people. But they did this all around the nation. They told these businesses they ain't got to hire everybody. Everybody's going to be 90 days, so you can move them easy. You ain't got to pay benefits. This was allowed. This was allowed. And eventually we even saw Kellogg's and Post before Kellogg's closed up, hiring temps. Yeah, Kwame ain't gonna say anything about the game. The league for years. Not right, he got the light. The younger kids need to learn tech, carpentry, mechanics, electricians, plumbing, all that, Marcus, all that. I did a short diploma in health. Got me. Okay. Health got me working in rehab at 21. Pretty happy when I'm at ATM. There you go. I feel you. Agriculture, architecture, all that. Like, motherfuckers couldn't even build a house, no, or even a shelter. I mean, how many people could build just a shelter? Like, if you had to. How many you could even just build a stove? Like, go in the woods and build a stove and be prepared and take everything to put a stove. I mean, we have no survival skills. We don't teach any survival skills. Look at what happened to the people, how they caught the people in Texas. How many people did you hear, maybe using their garages, building, what do you call them, stoves, putting the pipes in, getting the wood, and being self-sufficient for however long they turn the grid off. How many people was prepared like that? You didn't hear very many. Or even had drives for propane. Okay, let's get these propane heaters, take them from the stores. This is a crisis, so we're going to just, right now, you're going to have to give us a check on this. Because we're taking all this propane, we're taking all the heaters we can find, and we're going to start taking them out of Walmart, wherever they would be, and start giving them to the people. Who put that together? So these are the things that need to be looked at and talked about, not talking about the reverse shit. Okay, they talked about you, so you talk about them. Okay, it's over. Now what? Now what? We don't want to hear about your motherfucking stories all over again if you're talking about these motherfuckers. Fuck them. We been said fuck them. We see the phoniness. Thank you for pointing that shit out. But at a certain point, your platform that's attracting so many has to be about something else. Talk more about these areas that you can get the cheaper loans for to try to upgrade. Show us the businesses you looking to invest in to upgrade and make the town better, so people have a clear example. Now, I've talked about the same thing, the north side of Minneapolis, and let me tell you, now, there's something that really can't be ignored. The police are at war with the people, especially here. Violence here, a 4-year-old got killed last night in North Minneapolis. More people injured today. And I've said before, this is the same element. This is the same criminal element that's been operating, but now they got somebody on their side. They have someone on their side now. They are getting fed these weapons, and the beefs are going stronger and stronger. Where young men think they got to play tag with guns, because that's what it is. You got ours, we're gonna get yours. I mean, what does Snowfall find? They hanging out to kill someone, and they drive right next to them, shoot up in a rock, shoot at each other. Snowfall is giving you the template. Fight each other. Don't fight them, fight each other. And that's all across America, which is going to lead to prison cities. There's no way that's not going to happen. They're going to cut off these cities, and it's going to be a free fall in the cities. And that's no new doom or gloom. Like the beefs I've had here, which have been very mild, but it's black dudes, it's brothers. None of these Europeans is out here fucking with me, giving me a hard time. It's brothers. That who I smoke society generation. The grid would die. People wouldn't know what to do. I'm gonna go living in a van, save money from rent, and live in nature. It's a dude. Here's a perfect example of what you're saying, Tiger Strong. Vance Soap. This is a perfect example. It's a motherfucker. If you look him up, and I can't think of this goofy motherfucker's name, But this motherfucker lives in his van. He's kind of converted it to a little, RV. But this motherfucker goes in the coldest places in the country. He drives up around in Canada. He'll drive in parks where it's a blizzard, go walk and shit, see if he can do some hunting. And this motherfucker survives. He shows you can survive. He's got the beams where he's getting a little solar power that's put into his shit. He has to conserve when he cooks. He understands. He's gotten stuck, but it's where motherfuckers is constantly coming. He got communication. Look, motherfuckers, I'm out here in nowhere's land, but y'all live in nowhere's land too. Come get my monkey ass. So it's possible. It's very possible. I want to go living off the grid as well. Like the shows show it. The shows really show it. And that's again, when I talk about Charles Manson, that's what they were scaring people off of. Them properties. A lot of people wasn't into the civil rights. They wasn't into the motherfucking hippie shit. But they was into getting land and getting the fuck away from all of it. Growing vegetables, growing their own food, being self-sufficient, everybody having a part in communities. Basically, is what they was doing. And that's what the Manson shit was about. Done by all actors, wasn't none of it true. The Brad Pitt movie showed that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or some shit like that. It shows that shit was fake. Because what they show is how easy it would have been to stop them goofy motherfuckers. Kill, kill, kill. To stay or near the top. That's the plan. They want us to die without knowledge on how to use our God-given resources. I agree. If any of these social medias go down, people will be lost. Yeah, turn to books. All the major city shooting murders are up. That's a good point, and it is. And again, this is fed. I mean, we tell the stories about what they did in LA and what they did in Chicago, where it's the same story. Part of Gary Webb's information is I've told this story before, it was a tractor trailer. And I haven't heard anybody else say this but me on all this shit. But part of his papers talked about a tractor trailer just being set in one of them neighborhoods. Now, some of them brothers said in LA too, they found guns on the railroad tracks too. But there was a motherfucking trailer. And it had been there for a month or so, if not longer. And finally they broke into it. And this motherfucker was full of guns. So when I hear the wheelbarrow story in Chicago and out in LA, I know there's some truth to it, because I know this goddamn tractor trailer full of guns was also found. So this is something they've done. They've always done. I mean, what do the gun people tell you? They just want the criminals to have guns. That's pretty much what they do. They want to take guns away from everybody, so the criminal element that they back can take over and got these neighborhoods in fear. That is what is happening. Like you watch the anime and the mob motherfuckers controlling shit. That is what they're trying to do. And these police forces are backing these elements. They are backing them. They are giving them weapons. I mean, weapons ain't easy to come by. Ammo ain't easy to come by. No, yes, you can go on arms list and get plenty. But ammunition is very expensive. It's very expensive just to go shoot rounds off. It really is. Just to go practice. So these people got all these arms all of a sudden. They can afford it. Makes you wonder. Mason was a CIA asset. Definitely. I just want to live where I live. Don't rely on the government to grow my own shit and live in a simple life. That's me too. This is recently Rocky. This is last night and tonight. It's been shootings like every night. 4 children got hit Friday. 4-year-old girl got killed. No, let me get this right. 4 people got shot Wednesday. The 4-year-old girl got shot Friday. More people got shot tonight. It's almost every night. I talked to my son, his mother, they live over there, and she's like, I remember last week, she's like, we had to hit the floor. Shootings all the time. because this is um the Paul Pot, the movie. I think it goes Not Without My Father. I think it's a Netflix movie when they show when the U.S. pulled out of Cambodia and Paul Pot and his people went in and pulled all the people out the houses and made them go work in the fields. I mean, the change is my. This is my point about this. The people that vote against the cops and limit their monies Brother said one thing that's interesting. One brother, and I think of his name, but mercenaries. That is what a lot of the cops is going to become. They're going to be in the background, but they're going to be the mercenaries. If it's somebody heavy they got to go after, then they'll go after them a little harder. But what is going to happen is extortion is going to be done by these gangs. Because there's going to be others to say, there's going to be our territory, there's going to be your territory. And once these territories are come, if you're still allowed to work, you're going to be paying a tax to these gangsters. You're going to be paying a tax to these people because they're going to do, what is the old thing? We're going to keep you safe now. We're going to keep these young people from bothering you now, breaking in your house, breaking in your business. But you got to pay us. This is what they're trying to push on people. So they're still going to be in charge. Cops going to quit and be mercenaries, working for these agencies, working for these gangs. This is what they're creating. As I said before, they don't fucking go where George Floyd was killed. This is the south side of Minneapolis. They do not go over there. Said before, a girl a couple weeks ago was raped. Another girl was fucking beat up by her boyfriend. They dropping these motherfuckers off 10 blocks away. Girl just been raped. They dropped her off about 5 blocks. She had to walk because they don't go in these areas anymore. So there's nothing policing that area. And the people aren't like me, getting everybody together and say, we gonna protect this shit. Fuck these motherfuckers. My grandma was a dog in Mississippi. She said they couldn't riot when MLK died because there was nothing to tear up in North Gulf Pit. I feel that. The government owns all the land. No, it goes further than that. The Vatican owns all the land. The Vatican owns all the land under document of discovery. They own all the souls. That's what they feel. That is why the spells on you, the spells in the food, spells in the TV, the air, all this shit. They realistically, through the document of discovery, own everything. They think they own these other planets already. I mean, for those of you old enough to remember the moon hoax, they was talking about who owned the fucking moon. And if the moon is over your property for so long, you must have a stake in the moon. This is how, that's why the motherfuckers talk about the Jesuits. The Jesuits didn't write the document of discovery, did they? Tell me what army through history kept control. It's always a government behind these motherfuckers. It's always some money people behind these motherfuckers. So, motherfuckers say to Jesuits, you're doing the people a disservice. This is my favorite beer, Killian's Red. It's the best beer. That Coors beer tears my stomach up. There's something in that shit. Can't explain it. No other beer does me like that. Damn, it's expensive to practice shooting targets. A win. Yeah. Practicing with $10 bullet a piece. I mean, some cases, like that's why, the people that was fooled into buying 44 Magnums, 357 SIG, and somewhat 40 cal. I mean, again, the idea is if things broke out, you would want a gun, like you would start picking up guns of people that got killed. And most people gonna have 9s and they're gonna have 223s. So a lot of people that got fooled into getting them big old guns, unless you're making your own bullets. Like he was saying, $10 a bullet. Try to shoot a 44 mag. See how expensive that shit is. Not cheap. Be cheaper if you could reload your shit, and you could, make your own bullets. And that's another thing, and equipment ain't that expensive to make your own bullets. It's really not. Like Crazy Sarge was showing with the smelting, it's very similar to that. Like my 38 will shoot those bullets. Now, the lead bullets will make your gun dirty in the motherfucker. I'll say that. Just in the type of ammunition, or excuse me, the type of powder you would use when you make your own. But it'll bang the motherfuckers out cheaply. When it come down to it, like with 38s, you fucking shooting probably 20 cents a bullet. And this shit is nothing but short range. Motherfuckers be on YouTube like, well, I can shoot 50 yards away. That ain't what the motherfucker made for. That motherfucker made for just right motherfucker up on you. Oops. Going towards Demolition Man. What was it? RoboCop 2. RoboCop. Australia is so different without guns. So many sheep here. Wow. Yeah, I imagine like in England. Same way they showed a motherfucker run away from some bobbies in England. And they showed these two chicks. Dude just took off. And these two chicks, I was looking like no guns or nothing. That don't mean guns don't exist. I don't believe in dismantling the police force. I still think there's some good cops out there. Absolutely. My cousin's been a cop for 24 years. I used to be a cop, so I don't hate cops. And like one thing I love about Minnesota, the cops are the first responders. They can hit you with the paddles. They can do some life-saving things before the ambulance comes. And hats off to them that do that. So yeah, it's the same thing. I don't hate them. Now but this is the thing. It's like these is people with the same prejudices, going through the same changes, bringing their attitudes to work, and this is what happens. But and like a lot of people will say, and you have to admit, there's some points that's right about this. There's a lot more brothers killing brothers. And again, it's a faction behind them. But it's always been that way. This is what the CIA did with the crack market. They match people against people. And you saw it go from LA, you saw it in New York, Detroit, because Detroit been killing motherfuckers off the heroin business. So when it switched to crack, the same kind of thing. The CIA bring in their assets. Watch Al Prophet work. There's a dude named Nate. Definitely, he was in the military. He's shooting motherfuckers. I mean, this is what they've always done. I had a cousin. Check this out. Married. No, matter of fact, he would have married one of my aunts. So he would have been an uncle. He was one of the first brothers to be a Green Beret. Trained on multiple weapons. Now, I told the story before. I fought with this motherfucker in Vietnam. Shit's wild. He's one of the only person. Oh, that was a great taste. But anyway, he was one of the only people to survive an overrun. He was the only one. Most of the time when your place got overrun, that was it for everybody. You watch Platoon and they say, throw the shit right on us. We bunkered down. Be that kind of situation. He lived. But I had to go experience that. This motherfucker, they quit fighting his area. He put so much hellfire. And I told before, the motherfucker saw me one time. I was like, nigga, is you gonna fight? It's like, I get to play too. I'm surprised you can see me. But he comes back home, gets involved with the civil rights. They say this man missed the cop and the cop shot him in the face. They want you to believe that this man, trained on every weapon possible, missed. When we know he got out of his car and was shot. got out of his car, and the car shot him. Cop shot him because his beef was cops had they were protesting civil rights, and the cops had dogs on the people. And he made a mistake in saying, "Yeah, have these dogs out here tomorrow and see if I don't bring my shit." What he didn't realize was who he was and how much they feared him. And so he walked into a trap, not understanding the government was afraid of him. You know that last Sniper movie, the sniper over there, and that shit is so funny about the Sniper movie. This motherfucker never want to go home, but when his ass that smoke and he might get killed, he's like, "I'm coming home, man." He's crying and shit. He's like, "Shit, I might not make it this time. I'm just a sniper. I'm used to shooting motherfuckers a long way away, not up close." That was some punk ass shit, if you ask me. He was crying then. Damn, shit's hot. So if you and this guy got killed in a very small town. I was born in a town called the Wajack, Michigan. Niles, South Bend, where Notre Dame is, all that's together. Niles cop killed. So he was marked because they were afraid of him. Because he was trained. Remember the spook who sat by the door? So they systematically followed these people and made sure these type of people was killed because of their specialties that they learned from the government being in Vietnam. There's a lot of cases like this. I don't believe in dismantling. Smash that. Oh, thank you, Anise. I mean, the town had nothing to tear up like folks did in big cities like Mobile and New Orleans. Oh, I understand, Lorenzo. Uh, yeah, Crazy Sarge has some good videos. PNN, make sure you like and subscribe to him because he has some good work. My manipulation in the Celtics game. Any manipulation in the Celtics game? It was plenty, both sides. It was plenty, both sides. A lot of bad matchups. They put a lot of bad matchups early in the game, especially. Wasn't impressed by either team. Neither team seemed sharp. But yeah, I watched all the games. Um, who brought that up about sports? Let me read here. Unique, you're just trying to get me upset tonight. You're trying to get me upset. I was trying to stay away from that much sports talk because my goddamn Wild are down 3-1 or 2-1. Now I want to say they're down 3-1. They lost 3-0. Didn't look good tonight. I'll tell you, the game that just went off, Portland game, and Anthony shot again. They used Steph's system. They used the better system. I noticed that. I don't know if y'all noticed that in the Portland Denver game. Of course, in Denver, Carmelo hits what did he hit? 3 or 4 threes in the third quarter. So that game had a lot of manipulation. You got to look at almost all Dame shots, unless he's shooting layups. So, but it just becomes like it's so much. It is just so much. So it was anticipated, just like the Dallas game. It was anticipated how well that they would play. And of course, they made Gary, whatever his name is, Daddy from Chicago. He had a good game, along with Luka. Again, the mocking of the triple double. So, good sports day. I had to get out and get plenty of this sun. It was like 83 here. It's still 70 something right now. I got 2 fans blowing on the other goddamn lights. Rained a little bit, but it's humid as fuck. Let me see if it'll tell me humidity. We have 77% humidity. 77% humidity. They're like, it's gonna feel better tomorrow. We're gonna be in the 60s. So that's hot. Melo had the magnet. Did you catch the fight in ESPN? Ramirez versus Taylor. Scottish guy beat the Mexican. He knocked his ass down, which I think was kind of he was just. But it was a good fight. They went at it. Yeah, I watched the end of the fight, and they went at it. Scottish guy looked good. He beat dude up. Dude was beat up. He beat dude, but both of them was throwing and taking them. Um, but I thought the scoring was fair. I did. I thought the scoring was fair. He beat him up. That they beat each other up. It was a good fight. So I enjoyed the fight. And Melo had the Magnus again. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. So no championship for Dame time, only accolades. They won today, but I don't think they're gonna pull out. They beat Denver today though. Dame didn't beat them. I don't think they're gonna go that far though. Melo's a Blazer having a series against his team that drafted him again. Yeah. Uh, I got a super bad vibe on Floyd and Paul, but strong discernment is still an exhibition fight. Ain't got nothing to do with nothing. It's not a sanctioned fight. It's still an exhibition. So if he knock him out, it won't matter. Yeah, it was a good fight. Yeah, Marcus. Floyd might get humiliated, but it won't matter. If he gets humiliated or not, it won't matter. It's an exhibition. So the records is out the window. So and again, the size difference. Floyd and Paul's a big ritual. It is. It is. I never knew anything about manipulation of games until I watched their channel. Now I feel let down as there is no Santa Claus. Well, it's not like guys can't shoot, and I've never said that. I've never claimed that there's no skill, but the skill is applied like a Globetrotter game. I mean, you have to understand that the skill is applied like a Globetrotter game. Same way. It is a script just as much as wrestling. All sports. You know, one thing you do is you have a game plan. You have a game plan, and those game plans are scripted. Well, new feature I want to keep doing. So the stone I'm giving out tonight is apatite, and you see me fidgeting with this from my fingers. Apatite works at the interface between consciousness and matter to let go of what is outworn in your life. Clear away confusion or guilt. Accept the truth about yourself. You're complex with credits and deficits. Recognize these without judgment. Move away from aloofness or social alienation. Show others who you truly are. Use your propensity to have much to offer by way of service as your access insights for the collective good. Be inspired. Discern truth within. Recognize what is real in your world. Reconstruct your reality. Reconstruct your reality. Don't be deceived by false fronts. See what is beneath. Develop your metaphysical perception. Things improve steadily. Understand what the circumstances are merely learning opportunities. It is time to be service to others. Teach what you know. The frequency is high, the timing is Gemini, and discerning the truth is the soul path. And Melanie had a short definition. Yes. Apatite crystals are prismatic crystals as compact masses. The mineral occurs in a range of colors which include yellow, white, olive, green, deep blue, purple, brown. The mineral can be used to stimulate the intellectual and to promote realization that one's strength occurs through both spiritual avenues via love, hence dissolving aloofness and negativity. Use of apatite while working with other crystals will facilitate the results with a greater ease since the apatite enhances the coming results. Apatite is related to service to and the development of a humanitarian pursuit. It is attuned to healing, storing information, communicating, balancing energy, and teaching. It enables ones to both recognize and experience information which can be used individually and collectively. One can use the apatite as an interface point between the consciousness and matter in order to practically apply one's insight, prove and improve powers of manifestation. It's extremely useful in expansion of knowledge and in the disclosure of truth to freedom. It can help integrate, coordinate, and balance emotional, intellectual, physical, and etheric bodies. And also help to eliminate overactivity, underactivity, blockage, or congestion from any of the chakras. It can be used to stimulate development of clairvoyance, clairvoyance, clairaudioance, clairinstance, and the awareness of the Devic words. It furthers the connection with you. When applied with spiritual discipline, it can be used to assist in one of the development of deeper states of meditation and reflection of the yin-yang balance and raising of kundalini energy, self-insight, inner clarity, peace, oneness with the higher self. It enhances creativity, the stone of the future, and will bring knowledge to those attuned to it by clearing mental confusion. Wearing has successfully produced hunger suppression, and the elixir made of minerals also produce the same result. It can be used at the physical level to focus on healing on the system of glands, meridians, and organs of the body. It vibrates to the number 9. I give that freely. Like one thing this stone did for me, when my uncle died, I was working with this stone, and the stone created this beautiful path that led into this beautiful garden. And I thought, okay. Then my uncle dies. I was like, okay. So the stone was setting the place for him to help, for me to help push him into, or not push him into, but guide him into, so that I knew he was in the proper place. So I send that energy out to everybody. Again, this is that blue. I paid probably $10 for this, maybe. He had a whole box of them. But this is a year or two ago. So wanted to give that to the peoples, because I love the peoples and I'm for the peoples. Here for the peoples. All Floyd knows is boxing. Well, I mean, they're puppets, like the cars. Like I've said again, they show these motherfuckers having these cars. Again, get a DuPont registry. They don't drive these motherfuckers. You can't, some of them cars they be showing, you can't drive them because it lowers. Again, when you drive a car off the lot, you lose about 10%. Think if you got $100,000 car, you losing 10% just driving. You owning it, even though the state still owns the car. You just get to use it. I don't know. They pumping up Paul, but the fight is an exhibition. But yeah, that's all he know with his daddy. You can look up his daddy and his uncle, and the uncle was the first one to be sacrificed, was Roger. Reconstruct your reality. Only 7. Oh, well, thank you, James. It's the watches and the amount of time that people watch that really matter. But thank you. That is kind of y'all. This does become a business, basically, type of business, a type of promotion. Even though I give mostly freely, so it's that too. Come to one of my favorite parts. Who are they fucking with in Prior Lake? So Prior Lake had somebody's townhome. There's a bunch of these motherfuckers around here. Somebody's shit got burned up. It's been 3 years. It's some kind of energy here where it's interesting the way fires hit homes. Again, I live between basically 2 highways. The other highway, I saw a house. I was wondering why the street was backed up, and I got up to near it. There's a house on fire. Now this apartment got on fire. Let me see if I can find this shit. My ex told me this last night. It was kind of trippy. 3 juveniles sustained significant injuries after a vehicle crashed into a bridge here late Tuesday. Police say all 5 of the vehicle occupants were between 12 and 14, so they then took one of the parents' car. Responders were called to the crash near 21 and Quincy Street shortly before 10 p.m. Officers found one vehicle had left the roadway and impacted a bridge before falling over the bridge railing into the water, apparently. 3 of the occupants were transported by ambulance with significant injuries. The crash remains under investigation. Young boys done stole the car. They ride that shit. And of course, we have the commentaries. Finally back together after 15 months. This is a very conservative fucking area. And this must be the old people living edition. 55 plus, living well. Keep it moving. How simple exercises can keep us mobile for years. I think anybody can use that. How to build friendships in your golden years. 2,000 off your first month of assisted living. 7 ways to save more money from retirement. Get a raise, max out deposit limits, allocate your tax refund. Advantages of employers offers to match retirement contributions. Open a Roth. Yeah, you're young. It's a good idea to open a Roth. Aim for 15% investment. Make calculated cuts. How to build aging adults adapt to technology. Simple ways to maintain memory. The advantages of RV travel. How to prevent slips and falls in the bathroom. 4 easy tips for older adults to stay active at home. When I date women, I tell them there's one thing that they have to agree to. Actually, 2 things. You have to wear pink pumps while we're having sex, and you have to be in for me chasing you around the house, preferably naked. You maybe not need, but you preferably naked. And that way we get all the activity that we need by me chasing you around the house. Retiring single, 5 strategies to continue. Why it's never too early to make a long-term care plan. This is one thing they're going to bring here, maybe all over the country. 35-second clocks in high school. I noticed the winter tournaments last couple of years been using that. Well, they had a couple of when Master P and the 7-footer was playing. I think the games I watched, they were using a 35-second clock in high school. Minnesota Sports Authority said yes for girls wrestling, no for boys volleyball. And so that is who they are fucking with in Prior Lake. Not really fucking with anybody. That's a good thing to hear. Don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you. Well, it's exciting for anybody that watches me. I appreciate it. So it's just about getting the information out, this teaching this spiritual information a little bit, and the practicality of how to understand sports without emotions, especially if you want to bet. And the other things is just how to be a goddamn decent human being. That's what churches should teach more of. It's just how to be a decent human being to other people. I mean, Richard Pryor does a skit where, a European dude calls him nigger. And he was like, it's hard enough being a human being. Now I got to deal with being a nigger too. That's the point. That is the point. And the way this all, depending where you live, it's like, say you 40 and you see a group of 15-year-old dudes and you walking, do you go to the other side? And this is the thing that people come in all the time. You want to go in the store and a bunch of young dudes standing there. And women, that's kind of, you have the same kind of deal. Knowing these motherfuckers' mentality. What do? Go to another store? And what do they call shadow banning? If you try to go to another store, the other store have the same thing. It's kind of the way the Matrix works. You can kind of tell how the Matrix is working. You get to do the same thing. Hey, Maddie. Did you see the shots they pushed in first half of the Brooklyn game? 16 points in the first quarter. Joke. They wanted it way under. Yeah, I did. I noticed that. I noticed it in the Brooklyn game. I mean, one thing they did too was the mismatches early in the game on Durant. He got about 7-8 points early in the game, just mismatch. Not putting dudes that you knew couldn't guard. So that's part of the script. Hey Ziggy, 22 people hit. Oh, well, thank you. That's kind of you to say. But yeah, I noticed that in the first game, and then tomorrow the first game comes on at noon my time. So you on Eastern time. So It's not that I don't watch all the games. A lot of times it's the same reporting. It's the same kind of reporting. I try to just do the most obvious ones, but it's the same thing every game. And they show them again. They do my work for me, so it's something to be expected. And I'm glad that the world can look at that shit and see that this shit is manipulated, because that's how it is. It's manipulated. Sometimes it's hard for me to watch a game without emotion. I can't help it. I'm emotionally invested in the game. I was the worst. I love Magic. I loved Magic. Magic was only a couple years. I met Magic. I was in 8th grade, so I was going in ninth. He was going in 11th when I first met him. I first saw him when he was in 9th grade, because he had made, like, they always had the regionals in my area, and his team that made won the regional, or win it. Yeah, we held the regional, so his team had won the district, as a 9th grader. So I first saw him. I was in 7th grade when I first saw him. So, so I understand. It was hard for me to detach too. I like the videos you put up. Clearly, a manipulated layup in Clippers game. They wouldn't let Clippers win. It, it was even, yeah, because remember, Kawhi was able to just stop everybody against the Bucks last year, and this year's defense ain't looking so good. Um, I don't see them letting George win. George is one of them pick losers. It is just the way they do it. They pick dudes who just ain't gonna win. That's why I still say Harding ain't gonna win with them. I still think the money is going to be the biggest money. But like they said, who said that? Whoever said that last night, take credit. Was they were saying that Jackie Robertson. I agree. It could be that with Brooklyn and the Lakers and the Nets. It could be that, and then I would definitely say the Lakers win, because I don't think they're gonna let Harden win. I just don't see this. Um, so it could be that. I still think it's gonna be a Wilt thing, but even that. So now we know that the Warriors is out. So the Wilt thing would be the Lakers and the Sixers. I still think it's a Wilt tribute this year, but we'll see. I bet on sports for money, not with my emotions. There you go. Yo, that pink pom poms. People too ignorant to realize that the whole world's fake. They can't accept it. That's pretty much. But it even goes deeper than that. Um, like, sometimes when you drive, you have to get the feeling that ain't nobody really in the other cars. I mean, you have to see this. That is there really people over there? Because if you don't, this is how deep the it goes. If you don't really see people in these cars, there really ain't people in the cars. It's just the cars. Until you really look and see a person in the car, that's when the people will be in the car. Now, I hope that doesn't sound too confusing, but this is the type of matrix we live in. And that's why I make a point in you show me motherfuckers is in these cars. And I'm not saying, not paying attention to the road, but I'm saying make sure to make this matrix work hard as it should by recognizing humans. Recognizing humans. Because too often they'll put this shit around us without any humans. Because it's an illusionary system. As much as we feel real, it is a lot of illusion too, which gives credence in. And the flat plane people, I think, don't take advantage of that. That the illusionary thing is a flat plane concept. So, I mean, keep that in mind. As much as we feel real, much as it feels like we have emotion, yeah, the deeper you look into this system, it's not really real. So, um, but with that said, you can still keep your humanity. You can still recognize humans. You can still love. Love's not an illusion. Love can be a real thing. It's love, unconditional love of just life, of just loving what this thing is. Not saying worship this thing, but I'm saying, oh, forgot. Love life too. That's a part of it. Like the Stone was saying, service to others. Make your world as great as you can make it. Despite knowing this, this only enhances your knowing. Oh, yeah, it's all illusion. Very much. I've proven that in the driving. Driving is the easiest thing that we control. And it's very possible, again, I've talked about drunk driving and driving. It's the energy. That is why, again, this thing can't let people crash and kill each other all the time driving. That is why you can drive drunk and make it. You might go your whole life driving drunk and you never get stopped because there's an energy there that mixes. Weed doesn't really mix with driving. When they show Cheech and Chong going slow, that's a thing. Because when you smoke weed and you drive, the energies are so different. You're kind of almost like having a brick on your back while you're driving, or bricks out the car, weighing the car down in some ways because it's a completely different energy. Whereas when you drink and you drive, it's the same energy. Troll under the bridge. Because this thing can't let people just massively die while driving. People will quit driving. So, that's a way to plug in. And like I even said before, like now having your stickers renewed, which I went longer than I've ever went, just because of this thing too, and it kind of a little bit of they stopped that young brother in Brooklyn Park for expired tab, and we know they wasn't stopping motherfuckers for that anymore. So it was kind of like fuck you. But what it does is like it attracts them. It's like when blood goes into water. That's an attraction thing. Like I watch these brothers that say they sovereign and the plates. What they do is they attract that shit. Because you always show them when they do all that sovereign shit and the passport and the numbers. You see them always get stopped because they attract this shit. The thing they practice attracts what they say they're against, but it attracts them. Some things they say is right. You're not driving, you traveling. That's right. But most of their practice, it attracts. And so the simple thing is something as a tag, it's like blood in the water. You will attract them. So pay 50, 60 bucks, whatever the fuck it is, and move on. You become invisible again. Because that's how the Matrix likes it. Repel these motherfuckers as easy as you can repel them. That's a little thing to repel them. And then you build your magic up where they don't even know you really exist. I got stopped before with motherfuckers. I know what my license said. But when they looked at my shit said something else. And I remember I was taking my ex to do something, I forget. And she's like, how did you get out of that? She can testify to that situation. Because they wasn't even supposed to stop me, first of all. This beer's good. This beer is really good. This is Motivite. This is my littler piece. I gave this to my son and he broke it, so I took it. And I got the bigger piece, but it's starting to hurt my neck. But it's just a little piece of Motivite. And according to Robert Simmons, who wrote this book, Motivite is a little more activated with gold. So I'm really trying to work with it. But I'll say this, I've been working with the She Legit. I'm like 3 days to taking it. Will this say it? Oh, here we go. And what was interesting is I was meditating earlier because I got my meditation done earlier. And it was like as I was meditating, expander hit me. And again, I didn't have a diamond on, so I knew it wasn't the diamond expanding. And I'm like, this is interesting. And so I didn't catch it, what was doing it. And then a few, like another 20 minutes goes by, and then this expander hits me again. I'm like, this is the She Legit doing that. So it's starting to work with me. Okay, that has to be a cat. All right. So it's starting to work with me. And so it's quite interesting how it expanded the information. And even like wearing these rings, I wear them opposite when I meditate because with the fire agate again, it is going to push away any negativity. Um, and then the diamonds are going to they're expander too. They expand energies, but they can also they can hold negative energies. But so just a way to bring it in, if you understand, because when you wear gems, you have to understand how energy moves. This your right hand is your receiving hand, and this is the way the energy would leave. And so, like that's the beautiful thing about harmonizers. When you harmonize stones, so when you wear your jewelry, you have to understand that again, it's a great thing to wear on your left hand to wear the diamonds because again, diamonds are amplifiers. I'm calling expanders, amplifiers. Diamonds going to amplify, but what you bring in, because a lot of times if you had a diamond on this hand, again, the way energy comes in, negative energy, is there another stone that's going to stop that negative energy? Because a diamond will hold on to negative energy. That's why you have to clean them often, and you can just wipe them off too. I mean, it's not hard to it's not hard to release diamonds. But what I'm saying is you have to consider that. So if you are wearing diamonds on this hand that you're receiving, you got to remember you got to put something there or a bracelet that is going to filter this energy coming in. So they wouldn't let Brown lose the other night. Deepest three of his career, definitely Maddie. They didn't want to take a chance of him being out. No, he's the money. He's the money. He's the money. LeBron helps them with ratings. Got to have their money, man. Yeah, he does. He helps them with ratings. Absolutely. He's the biggest ticket. And that's how they work. First time you smoke weed, how did it feel? The very first time, I didn't really feel too much. I was 12, and I came from a pothead family. All my cousins, and my cousin was 13. The other dude was 14 or 15. And the funny thing was, like, again, I thought if you smoke weed, you couldn't play pro. And then I heard about Lou Alcindor, which is Kareem, and Lucius Allen got put off of UCLA's team for smoking weed. And I was like, wait a minute, these is the bad. Jabbar was the baddest motherfucker in the land when he was at UCLA. And I'm like, he's smoking weed, so it can't be that bad. And I just remember, um, uh, uh, so I had smoked some weed and shit with my cousins, and they're putting headphones on me. They're like, doesn't the music sound, half baked when John Stewart does the high shit? They're like, don't the music sound better when you're high? And don't these lights look better when you're high? And I'm more laughing at them and their behavior on them finally getting me to do it. But I've told the story about my cousin who got killed in the boxing ring. That was probably the first time I ever got high was with him when we went to the drive-in. And we were smoking hash. And I've talked about the 4-foot bottle of Wild Irish Rose, and a 4-foot bottle of Wild Irish Rose. And that was the first time where I have a reality that I go into. I call it candy or cake land, just because the colors remind me of that. And it was the first time I was taken there. And I remember the experience being looking at this candy land like pinballs and shit, not realizing that was my introduction where I had vibed high enough to start hitting that even at when Sean died, I was going in 10th. So Sean didn't die until he was 2 years ahead of me. So Sean got killed in 85, fall of 85, yeah. But just hanging with him and some other dudes, that was really the first time I experienced what you could say being buzzed. So I was about 14 and at the drive-in, we spend buku time. And again, this bottle of wine, I didn't believe the motherfuckers told me to go in there and get it. Again, in the summer of 76, it was still 18 could buy anything. And I'm big as I am now, 6 foot at 14. So they was selling everywhere. And when my cousin them gave me the money, I'm like, what the fuck is you talking about? The big ass bottles. They like, just tell these motherfuckers, they'll go back and you can go back and get it. And sure enough, I went back in the coolers and there's these fucking 4-foot bottles of goddamn not Mad Dog, but TJ, yeah, maybe Mad Dog, Morgan David, maybe TJ Swan, I want to think, but it was a 4-foot fucking bottle. And we was passing that motherfucker around. I told the story. We beat this dude up because he threw up in the bottle. And I mean, the bottle's 4 foot, and we had drank more than half. And he lifts this big bottle up, and he's drinking, and the motherfucker just pukes in this bottle. He pukes in our bottle, and 4 foot bottle of that cheap wine probably costs less than $20. But seeing the shit, and I remember leaving the shit in this big ass bottle. I'm walking out with this big bottle like this. Kind of some funny shit. Why did they not suspend LeBron? What he been suspended for? You got to do some shit to be suspended. Milwaukee Best is kicking my ass. Ha, that's funny. Hey, good evening, PJ. How's work? Why did they not suspend him? They ain't really had no reason. He ain't really did any real dirt. I mean, the worst he did was he wore that suit shorts. Remember, they feminized him. They made him in the suit shorts. And then when he had the suit shorts, he had a purse. He had like a fucking Louis Vuitton bag. Remember that? He was in the gray suit that had shorts. And he made sure he had his purse. So they feminized. Somebody, I'll say this. Somebody put a picture up with Michael Jordan with the granny hair and a shawl. Now, he didn't wear the dress, but damn, that was the most feminized way I've ever seen Mike before. I'd never ran across that picture. Michael had a shawl and the granny hair. I'd never seen him that feminized before. I am off. Okay, that's smooth. That's smooth you off. Good for you. Good for you for being off. One thing that Kwame said, though, I want to know who Rachel Nichols was messing with in that bubble. I think Rachel Nichols is married, and she had a baby. She got a young baby, like 2, 3, if that old. So it's interesting because he was hinting that he knew that somebody was messing with her. Because that shit don't be, that shit don't be secret for long. But they're like they got on what's his name for getting food in Atlanta, being at the strip club, and other people was doing the same shit. So he was like, "Why are you getting on me?" And that's really why they traded Lou Williams to Atlanta. You see that, Malcolm? They sent you to Atlanta where supposedly I mean, of all the places they could send him, they send him to the place where he supposedly liked the strippers and shit and got the chicken. So he's supposed to be in the bubble and he's watching chicken legs. Went to get together and been sipping Corollas. Oh, that's gangster. Good for you. All the next episodes we should talk about the NBA logos and what do they symbolize. I mean, it's Jerry West. That's what it symbolizes. It's Jerry West. And it symbolizes it symbolizes the creators of the pro league. That's what it symbolizes. They didn't make that logo of Jerry West until the 70s. So that wasn't always the NBA logo, but they made him the logo. So despite the league being 90-something%, Jerry West is the logo. And that is the symbology of the logo. Because I think because it's funny, the NBA logo and I think Major League logo are about similar. And it's like, I think the Major League logo might be Boog Powell. If I remember right, it's Boog Powell, but it was done in the 70s, I believe, too. Yep, the colors with the white logo. There you go. Oh, I mean by what is each NBA team? Yeah, I'd have to write that shit down. Like the Knickerbockers, we know from the gangs of New York, it was an actual gang. You look at the Hawks in Atlanta, again, kind of going back to a lot of American Indian shit. The Milwaukee Bucks, Milwaukee. Like you drive in Wisconsin, you see all these Indian names. Like I know Rocky and Bullwinkle, a lot of people didn't know about that. But Rocky and Bullwinkle talked about all these towns, like Frostbite Falls. But I know a lot of people wasn't into Rocky and Bullwinkle, and young people, this is way over your head, but they always talked about all these Minnesota and Wisconsin towns. So it's kind of interesting. So the Detroit Pistons. Now the Boston Celtics don't make any sense. Mostly Irish. A lot of Irish in Boston. So how did they become the Celtics? I got the entire script for the playoffs on point. Oh, bet, homie. Like Washington, their logo symbolizes a bull's penis. We're talking about the magicians or the wizards, the Washington Wizards. Used to be bullets, though. Maybe that's what you mean. Used to be bullets. Used to be Washington bullets. And then, all the young people getting killed, they said that's not quite good enough. Because if I remember right, when the Washington was called the Bullets, it was because of a pool player. Um, Paul Newman, I know Paul Newman played Eartha Kitt's daddy. Um, was Paul Newman Minnesota Fats? No, that was Jackie Gleason. But or was it the Bullet car? But yeah, it was one of them things I think with Paul Newman why they was called the Bullets. I think it was a movie off of a movie. The Washington Wizards. Okay, the Washington Wizards. Yeah. How do you see them putting their golden boy Curry out of the playoffs? Did you see that? Yeah, I kind of did. They were in such a hole; it was going to be hard for them. But you see, he was rewarded. Like once he won the scoring title, I wasn't surprised he was knocked out. That was how. Remember Harding? Remember Harding all in years he got knocked out, but he won the scoring title. Remember he got knocked out the playoffs, but he was MVP. So it was the same kind of thing. They let him win the MVP. And that was my problem with it. It was like, why you keep showing this motherfucker? That's what I didn't understand. When he was hurt, he's on the bench doing this, and they're putting camera time to it. Because I do think he's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to ever get LeBron status. It's hard to say. They gave him 3 titles. So I had Grizz. He's out because too much money on Golden State. That's probably a point too. Yeah, I would agree with that. It was most of the money was on Golden State. But I'm not surprised they put him out. I just didn't see him in the script. Again, once that was the clue to me again was once he got the scoring title, he was out. Well, let me do my divination, get this over with. So we should be at 15. Yeah. So we're at 13 platoons, 0 platoons, 8 tunes, 9 Uno, and 15 kin. Well, on the top of in this card image, we see an Eagle Warrior. We know this because of the messing up. So we're at day 15. Give the Mayan information out first. Yeah. So tomorrow right now, Sunday, we are in the West, and it's Min. That's the Mayan fractal, and Min is Eagle. Eagle, higher collective mind, planetary consciousness. And if you want to manifest, it would help to manifest in the West. Why not take that push? So let me start again. In this card image, we see an Eagle Warrior. We know this because of the feather in his head. He's painted black, which together with the red was the colors of knowledge. Being painted black, and black signifies his reunification with the mundane world and his dedication to the quest of spiritual knowledge. The warrior's Ketosoko in human form. He's the thrower of a spear that represents both the attention and also the number 1, symbol of the Great Spirit as the One. On the top part of the card, we see an eyeball representing the action of attending. This image of Quetzalcoatl is in his Eagle Warrior fashion is reminding us to stop looking only at the mundane world, to focus on attention and the presence of the One. In this way, we can maintain our equilibrium, and we should be on top of a dual-natured beings as we are. Top goal. The Eagle card represents the freedom of elevation from what is low through your own effort. Getting the Eagle card means that you need to and can elevate yourself from whatever is oppressing you, no matter how low you think you are. The freedom is that the Eagle spirit portrays a self-liberation process that isn't directed against any exterior energy. The only real enemy is our attachment to action, situation, habits that give us no life, but that we remain attached to of the fear of trying something new. The Eagle voice says, you can stop that habit that is killing you now. You can leave that person that does not respect you now. You can leave a spirit that longs for. You can start now living in the life that your spirit longs for. You can stop hurting your body by eating in a way that you don't know isn't good for you. You can leave behind the physical emotional addictions that sustain your false mark of weakness. You can change all those things now. You're much stronger than you ever imagined. This is the elevation of the ego represents. The barriers to better life has always been inside, and is inside the first place where you should overcome them. Interchange will expressed in actions that would empower your own life and your own world. Be aware that the elevation of the ego doesn't happen through fighting against what crawls. It is the transmutation that is in something higher. Psychologically and spiritually means that you will achieve your elevation through your passion for flying, not through fighting with the negative parts of yourself. What you consider to be the negative parts are going to be transmuted by your search for elevation. Instead of thinking in terms of destroying the parts of yourself or your life that give you trouble, that do you no good, think about transmuting them. First, try to determine the good that you are trying to achieve through your mistaken behavior. Look behind the action and ask yourself, what good am I trying to achieve through this behavior that is important for me? Whenever you find, keep asking the same question. If you get to the bottom of your motivations, you will find that you are looking for something positive in your most negative behavior. Um, the message is find the good seed. No, find the good, find the seed of good hidden in your negative behavior and fly with it to a better way to achieve achieve the good that you seek. So that is my message to you as I do give freely. Hmm. So I did make a few notes. This is something interesting how they've done history. This is something interesting how it's almost a Mandela effect. But also another thing that's added. So I've talked about these before. Now, I don't know what the connection is. My grandmother said that we had some kind of connection to Osceola, but now you look up Osceola, his name is Parker. And there's a whole line of Masons that claim this name. Again, Osceola, in his own few words, says that he didn't have any European in him. This is his words. And then all the people escape from where he stays. But if you read the book of the Seminole Wars, he gets caught one time and they chain him all night and he goes crazy all night being chained. But this is the same man where there was about 15 of them. They all escaped. But yet he didn't leave. He stays there and spends about a month to get a picture. So he's supposedly a sick person. But my point is, now you look up the word, it says the name, a European name, but in his own words, he says he ain't related to that. Now, I don't know what my connection is to him, but he ain't a Parker. And there's some of them on Facebook. They thought they ran me out of Facebook one time because, again, this is the oral history of my family that we have some connection to. And I found out maybe not. It's kind of hard to figure out where the connection is, where we historically look at it. So, my bad. But then people ain't related to him either. But then people all are Masons, which made me even look at like my name, because my name is Macon, which is spelled Macon, which in France is the same name. Mason is the same name. The same name is also Mo, whatever you call the dots over both S. There used to be a wine. There's a wine called Masson. It's all the same words. But then digging deeply, this shit kind of has something to do with the fucking Templars. So I'm like, what? Like, why did they pick this name? Somebody out of fucking Virginia picked this name and goes to Mississippi. And there's no other real connection before this cat in my family, my father's family. So why is this name picked? Because the county, or no, the city of Macon, Georgia, yes, my family did help start this city, but on the other hand, the city was already come from Nathaniel Macon, who was in the Revolutionary War and bought a bunch of cheap land. So it's kind of interesting how in all these connections of, and I'm not a Mason. And I've told the story before, the Masons in Battle Creek offered me a goddamn building to be a Mason. Yeah, I didn't need that shit. Keep your goddamn building. Scoring title for your pain and suffering. Yeah, Valerie. That's pretty much what it is to keep him in the mind, though. for the next time. Keep him in mind for the next time. But it's like I hated watching the games because the camera doesn't stay on LeBron or anybody else as much as it stays on Steph. It just doesn't. Watch LeBron play and see how much the camera is on him compared to when Steph plays. Steph going to bench like the game yesterday. Steph losing, and when Steph sees the game's over, he covers his head. Defeat, the agony of defeat. So, how do you believe that? And why? Doesn't want to leave. Okay, stay in there then. There you go. Piece of tobacco. So he's the only guy that gets that kind of treatment. Camera stays on this motherfucker. Nicotine's hitting. It's like a real laid back kind of thing. What's up with Kawhi? With Kwame? Which one? Valerie, Kwame Brown or Kwame Hoopin? I like Kwame Hoopin today. Them New Balances was tight. They was solid. I like those New Balances that he was hooping in. That's the thing. I look at how dudes is hooping and how the shoes is made. So which one you talking about, Valerie? You talking about the NBA Kwame? Yeah, he didn't play well today. I mean, they gave him a three, but he got out the numbers. Luca outnumbered him because Luca had a triple double. But I mean, this cat is only 6'6". Remember that he ain't that tall. So when they put them, Poringas is what 7 something. So he's hard and he plays a lot of four. Really, if you look at his game, but he's just he has trouble with bigger defenders. And he's not a terribly quick guy. He kind of tries to strong people, but they hyped him up when he played for Toronto. He was hyped up. And again, he wasn't the thing that beat LeBron James with San Antonio. It was Danny Green with basket manipulation. When LeBron James had beat them once before, it was Danny Green that stopped them from beating them again. It wasn't Kawhi, it wasn't Parker, it wasn't Tim Duncan. It was Danny Green basket manipulation that beat LeBron when he was in Miami and lost them motherfuckers. So Kawhi has always been an average dude. They just hyped him up that year. Again, you can't believe the shot that beat the Sixers. Means that was one of the most fixed shots ever. That boom, 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 and then finally in. That's the old system. Now they just roll it in or out. So, uh, yeah, I like this colorways too. Yeah, I like the shoes tonight. The shoes was. I was looking at everybody. It's like they got away from like they remember they when Jordan started hooping with those old Air Force Ones because the uniforms was and it was black and red. So what the fuck was Stern tripping on? That was a power thing with Stern because really they Stern fined Jordan because Stern wasn't getting any of that dough. That is what that was about. He fined him because Stern went to Nike and said, "Give the NBA some of the dough." And Nike and Jordan's people said, "What the fuck we giving you money for?" So Stern fined him, and shoes flew off the shelf. Stern miscalculated because what Stern did is, and I don't know if y'all remember this, but in the '80s you would go to games and they sell shoes and shit at the games, not just jerseys. They sell hats. They would sell shoes. So Nike had Nike shoes in the games. You go to a game, you follow me. So after they cut Stern out of the loot and didn't give him any money, he banned Nike from selling shoes in the games anymore. This is how dirty that Jewish faith person was. How dirty he was. Best thing Stern did is let the NBA take in Connie Hawkins. That was the best thing he did. They had Danny looking like Reggie Miller, didn't they? Yeah, they did. They did, PJ. They had Danny looking like this guy comes out of nowhere. He hitting 7 threes. And that was like, yeah, this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. LeBron was putting so much heat on him, and then all of a sudden Danny hitting 5 and 6 threes in a row. And then when you saw Danny, that's my thing for saying Philadelphia has a chance is because of him. Again, look where he played last year. Look at him now. I'm still staying with the Wilt theme. of the Lakers and the Sixers. I'm not moving off that. Now, if I'm proven wrong, well, it won't be the first time. I thought I heard something about Jordans being gang colors too. Mm, I don't know, maybe, but not really, not really. I never heard that before. That's interesting. But they used to sell them motherfuckers in Nikes was sold in the games. And Stern got pissed because Nike cut his ass off, and Mike cut his ass off too. And now Mike on the jerseys. Mike on the jerseys, and Stern is. But Stern put another Jewish faith person in control. They've always been in control of basketball. That's one thing, and the Jesuits as much. I'll say that too, because the early leagues was all mostly Jesuit leagues. And look who created basketball. I used to have a I used to have some shit about that dude talking. I had recorded some shit about him. I think it was on my other cable, so I lost it. But it had him talking about the way basketball um, came into being, and he ain't really benefit. Not really. Not really. But all he did is looked at the shit in Mexico and turned it like this, because instead of sideways, he turned it like that. So he didn't create shit. Like this, I was watching. If anybody caught Saturday Night Live, they said the oldest sport in America is lacrosse, which is part of the continuous ball game. But even any really sports, like I'm even looking at baton, how it is played on the sacred ball court or the continuous ball court. So almost all activity comes from it. The threes like Mark Miller had when the Heat, exactly. Yep. Mark Miller was hard to believe. Who remember he started because somebody was hurt or some shit, and all of a sudden Mike Miller. Remember Mike Miller won? Didn't Florida win two? Noah and Mike Miller didn't they win two NCAA titles? And then this is the end of Mike Miller. And I had a kind of connection with Mike Miller through my daughter's mother. We had some kind of connection with him, and so we had got a little gear from him and stuff. So pretty decent dude, but yeah, definitely basket manipulation with his help. The system has been again. I did the Jerry West thing. The first basket manipulation shot was Don Nelson giving Bill Russell as a coach his first title. The first black coach to win. Then the second one was that Aggie, Al Atlas, but the first brother to win a coaching NBA title. And then the second one was Jerry West. Tied the game, put the game in overtime. And then Ralph Sampson shot to beat the Lakers. I mean, he just throws it kind of behind his head and it goes in. He just catches it and kind of throws it. So we see that. We see that. So it's like I get to a point where I could show almost every three would be basket manipulation. Now I know the odds of that is not favorable, but it's pretty much you can see the shots and you can hear them when the system is operating. And not to say the guys can't make baskets, everybody can make baskets, but you can see when the system's used. Dame is the same as Curry, short person, which they're trying to run out big dudes. You can't get over that. They're trying to run away the big guys. That is one agenda that's coming to basketball is pushing out the bigger, especially the brothers. Now they keep bringing these Europeans over. Like you look at Porzingis, that body type can't hold up to the NBA. It's just he can't. That is why he is always hurt. Those type of players, they can't take the pounding of the game, so they are always hurt. So that's something to consider looking at him. Well, guys, I did 3 hours last night. Didn't plan to do two tonight. I am going to cut it a little earlier tonight because I did do 3 hours last night. That dude you told us about, Draco, has some stuff. Have you checked out Cosgrove? I have not. I will check him out. And Draco hasn't come through in a minute. Or Jonathan. I saw Zach Hubbard. Zach Hubbard commented on one of my things, and I should call in. I don't, I tell this motherfucker, I don't believe this shit is by the Jesuits. It is by those other people. The Jesuits is just the army. So I should call in and talk to him. I ain't beefing with him. Zach, Jonathan, I ain't beefing with none of them. Just saying, you got to keep your ears open. You can't be fooled because, like I'm saying, with this Kwame Brown shit, he's a distraction. He ain't saying nothing about the games being fixed. He ain't talking about really enhancing the community. Now, let's see action. Let's see action. And quit tearing. These brothers is tore down. Okay, you tore them down. You won. You got to have something more to say. Now you talking about, you going into these cities and going to get these loans and make do it. We don't need more gyms though. We need vocational centers. So if you saying gyms, we know you still work for them. And again, he ain't gonna do nothing he getting 300 plus pension. You can look up to see what NBA pensions is. He getting it. He's fully vested. He getting pension. He been getting pension money. So is he gonna, risk his pension money by telling everybody that the shit is rigged? It is rigged for his career not to fail. That he was bounced around the league, has made an example of don't come out. Stevenson had some of that same experiences. Detroit Pistons drafted a motherfucker out of high school. They cut him in camp. His name was something Young. He got cut in fucking camp. He was a number one pick, and you never heard about him again. Something Young was his last name was Young. Then they want to tell you they didn't want coaches fucking in high schools looking at these high schoolers. But I like that he said the truth about Michael Jordan. And Michael gave him hell. A bunch of them said Michael was the asshole. And Michael Jordan is an asshole. He is an asshole. No doubt. When Plies said, Mike said, I'm not taking a picture with another nigga, that's some real shit. How him and Scotty, all the niggas was like that. They get like that. They'll smile and cheese, Europeans step up, brothers step up. They be like, hey, what have you paid for? That's a fact. They been like that. They been like that. So what Plies said, I agree. These motherfuckers is funny. I've been around them motherfuckers. They some funny motherfuckers. No, we don't need more gyms. We need more vocational schools. Absolutely. We do not need gyms. So if he talking about building gyms, fuck him. Again, he ain't tell everything and quit attacking them. You won. The motherfuckers got a flag going. But you notice he didn't talk about Charlemagne tonight. He said his name one time. So that cease and desist must have put some boot to ass a little bit. Because he sure ain't fucking with them. See this what Zach meant on his video earlier today. Kwame is just saying enough, but he's not going full like the games I read. Yeah, he's not. He's not risking his pension money. He's not risking his pension money. Exactly. And his idea of uplifting the community is building fucking gyms. So we don't want to be entertainers. We want to do what they did to them in the 70s, to not be entertainers anymore. We want to build solid human beings that don't have to entertain, because that's all the rap thing turned into. Is still being entertainers, easy entertainers. Just as I can put this together, motherfucker could use the same shit and be a goddamn rapper. It's the only way you can stand out. Mostly ball players are corny. You snatch they woman easy. That's the thing. If you got any pimping in you, it is. This is what I learned, and I've said this before. So the Timberwolves played the motherfucking Mutombo was with the Nuggets. And so we go in there, and I had met Reggie Lewis. Again, I had met Reggie Lewis. Reggie Williams. I had met Reggie Williams in high school when I was in D.C. So I had met him a few times. So him and Mutombo is standing, talking and shit. And I'm like, what's up, Reggie? And ain't no bitches around Mutombo. No bitches. So I'm going to seat where it's sectioned off, and this is in the Slam Prince's Club, where we got our own little booth and we got people sitting there. I ain't playing pro, none of my friends, and yet we got just full of people. And I remember Reggie walked upstairs with me and we went to our booth. And so you see, you don't need So you didn't need that to interesting. You didn't need that. Didn't use here. Why not use here? So you don't need to play pro ball to, to pull women. Ah, there we go. Williams the third scoring and playing serious. D keeping the Celtics in the game. Brad Stevens took him out and put Thompson in. Nets went on a run, and what a wrap. But Edward, that's I kind of made that point before. The matchups with Durant in the first half. They had what's his name? They had Thompson trying to guard Durant. Durant scored 6 straight points on Thompson. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yep, exactly, Edward. How to live with land and build, survival and family and economics. Oh yeah, I understand. That's absolutely right. And so that's my point was is you didn't need to be that to attract women. It's about your personality and how you carried yourself. you know, like I had a friend, Dwayne was my man. Dwayne knew everybody. And again, when we go into the booth, it's just everybody there because Dwayne, everybody loved Dwayne. And I guess Dwayne had some hard times, but everybody loved this motherfucker. And we just sitting there, we got girls coming in and out. We could choose. So it's like it didn't matter. Here's Matumbo with all this money. He gonna have to buy something. For him to get something, he gonna have to buy something. We got people up there just talking to us, flirting with us, because we all together as a group, and we had the energy. Wasn't that we had the bread, but we had the energy, and women were attracted to that. And so we just all having fun. Pro players coming to us. So it ain't about the money all the time. It's about just how good are you in your pimping. Thompson runs funny. He lost a step with his rebounding. Yeah, and he's not like he's nowhere near good as Kevin McHale. But again, when we talking about putting him on Durant, guy that he's big, but he ain't gonna stay with him in open court because Durant can handle the ball. So I looked at that too. Edward, and thought, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Because the first half, he scored those 6 straight points. I'm like, why they got him on? That made no sense. You guarding him at the top of the key. 2 dribbles and he by you. So I saw that too. Good point. I saw that too. Thompson is really never, he had LeBron, and they took him on. So, but as far as his skill wise, he helped LeBron because, again, when LeBron was in Cleveland, the size kind of mattered. The one that they really broke was Kevin Love. They broke Kevin Love because I watched Kevin Love play a lot here. And Kevin Love was double double. Like I was saying, Christian Laettner not being the man or Larry Bird. Kevin Love was damn near Larry Bird. Now, he wasn't giving you the 50s, 60s, but you talking about motherfucker when you came here and you had to play, and they had Kevin Love made a play. They had who did they trade? When they traded Garnett, they had what was the big fella that was with Boston? What was his name? I can picture his face, but Love was the double machine, and it was a mistake for him wanting to play LeBron because this game never being the third option, and sometimes even the fourth, just killed all his confidence, killed his game, and he re-signed with Cleveland, which showed you it was just about the bread. There's no way he should have re-signed with him. I think the Lakers gonna beat the Suns, Edward. I really do. They're gonna beat the Suns. I think the thing is to look at with that is the over under, and yeah, the over under, and if the Suns do win a game or two, I don't think they're gonna cover. Looking at that kind of matchup, the Suns are gonna have to win like one of them couple points over. So we got to look at the way the money's betting. Yeah, that's going to make a big thing. But I think the Lakers going to beat them, and then the Lakers is going to be in that number 2 seed position. That's what I look at. Yeah. So I think the Lakers pull that out. I do. I think the ratings is asking for that. But we could be surprised. Well, I think I'm going to cut it, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to cut it. Because I got a little girl coming in here in the morning, gonna be like, get up, cook me lunch. Should have ate damn lunch where you was at. Waking me up because I stayed up. I stayed up till 4:30. It got light, just studying and stuff. Like I got done here. I did 3 hours, and so I'm kind of you know, after doing 3 hours, I'm still kind of hyped up, and just still studying. I remember I looked at the clock, and it was like 4:30 in the goddamn morning. I was like, damn. And the birds is chirping. It's starting to get light and shit. And then this my daughter calls me at 10:30 and asking me some shit. I'm like, usually I yell at her, but I didn't yell at her. I usually I'm like, I stay up. Why are you calling me? Well, Dad, this is going on. So I already knew. Same as Bosch was so dominant in Toronto, double double in terms of jump shooter in Miami. Yes, good point. But Bosch, what was the only thing I was going to say about Bosch? Yeah, one more thing I was going to say. And this is the thing about Bosch. Everybody gives Jalen Rose hell about Kobe scoring 81. Bosch was on that team too. They don't say that often. And Bosch just made the Hall of Fame, which I don't know. But Bosch was on that team that Kobe scored 81. And everybody makes jokes about Kobe. And that was why, I know what you're saying about his stats and making the All-Star game, but he was in the game where Kobe scored 81. And he didn't really do shit. They used to show that game, because you could see his Globetrotter basketball. It's like, I bet you they don't show that 60-point game. Kobe shot 50 shots and scored 60. And everybody's standing around like, let it be the Kobe show. That was the most. Now I'll say this. Kobe's last game was the most Globetrotter-ish game in the history of the NBA. If you ever wanted to see an NBA Globetrotter game, Kobe scoring 60 in his last game is it. It's like I showed the video of them standing around letting Westbrook get the rebound. It was that kind of thing. Kobe shot 50 times. He shot 50 times. Well, thank you. Thank you again, everyone. I appreciate it. I'm a little tired, and I do have a busy day tomorrow. And so, and the people that ever watch this in the future, thank you very much. So, as I always end in Eshan's poem, I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, A Wind. I'm also a Starface. I'm also a Time Lord. I'm the only Time Walker, which I take very seriously. Till we meet again, thank you.